Nate Diaz dominates Anthony Pettis in his UFC return. This is the battle camp. Please hit the subscribe button. You'll find it in the bottom right hand corner of your screen. So this was the people's main event. This is the fight that majority of us were looking forward to. This is why I stayed up until, what is it now, 6:55 a.m. I need to get some sleep. But boy, what a performance by Nate Diaz. So he got the unanimous decision, 30-27 on two scorecards, 29-28 on the other. And elements of this fight surprised me. I'm surprised, motherfuckers. Honestly, like, I can't remember seeing Nate Diaz be so dominant against the cage with an opponent. I can't remember seeing him. I mean, I've seen him overwhelm fighters with flurries of punches and strikes against the cage, but I've never seen him hold a fighter against the cage the way he did. I've never seen him take people down the way he did. Some of the things that Nate Diaz managed to do in this fight, it made me believe that this is kind of like, I feel like this is like the first time he's gone into a fight with an actual game plan, rather than going into the fight just believing he's a better fighter. Does that make sense? So this time it felt like, all right, he believes he's a better fighter, but these are Pettis' weaknesses. If we focus on this, it will be an easy night's work for us. In the post-fight interview, he mentioned how he was aware of the fact that it's a 3-round fight, so he tried to make sure he was active for every second of every minute of every round, and it showed. It showed in his performance. I spoke about Anthony Pettis in my pre-fight video, in my kind of preview video of this fight, and I mentioned that he tends to, with pressure, he tends to will, and I felt at the time that this would be a good route to victory for Nate Diaz, and that's precisely how it played out. It's just a type of pressure I wasn't expecting from Nate Diaz. Like I said, I was expecting more pressure via strikes. But the way he was able to grapple, wrestle, and then take Pettis down, I was impressed, man. I was very impressed. Like, the man's not fought for 3 years. And he came back, and he didn't just come back and win. He came back and showed different facets to his MMA game. Things that I haven't seen before, and if I have, I just can't remember, because it has been 3 years since he last fought. But do you know what I mean? Like, he showed a different side to his game. He's evolving. Like, when he says he's been training this whole time, it's a fact. He has been training. He has been improving this whole time. It's just he hasn't been able to showcase it in a fight. It would be wrong not to mention about the fact that Anthony Pettis hurt his ankle. I think it was in the second round. He threw a low kick, and Nate Diaz checked it, and after that, Pettis didn't throw a low kick again, I don't think. His mobility was compromised as well, and that played into Nate Diaz being able to do what he did to Pettis. But I don't think it's fair to use that as an excuse, not an excuse, or one of the main reasons for why Nate Diaz won, because let's not forget, he won the first round as well, and he got the takedown in the first round, and that was before Pettis hurt his ankle. So obviously it helped, but I don't think the result would have been different if Pettis didn't hurt his ankle, if that makes sense. But yeah, man, exciting times. And I tell you what I really enjoyed was when he got on the mic after the fight, because I tweeted about this as well. This is exactly what he was talking about in the build-up to the fight, about how fighters are boring. They're all kind of, no one's exciting him. No one's jumping up and grasping the opportunity. No one's taking what they believe is theirs. And he literally, like, I heard a lot of MMA journalists talking about how he may be losing momentum, how his career is stalling by not fighting, and he's kind of out of the minds and hearts of the people just because he's not active. But any momentum that he may have lost, just in that performance and the post-fight interview, he just grabbed it all back. The way he called out Jorge Masvidal, the way he said he wants to defend his title, and I'm not sure what title that is. Maybe it's the OG title, maybe it's the title of just being a real person. I don't know, man. But everything about Nate Diaz this week has been impressive for me personally, and I know I'm a fan. I don't want to sound like a fanboy, but if he'd done something stupid, I would have called it out. He even mentioned himself that because it was a 3-round fight, he tried to fight differently and he felt himself getting tired. And he said that a 5-round fight suits his style better. And I agree with that. And the reason why I'm bringing this up is when he called out Jorge Masvidal, please, 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 UFC, book that fight, and when you do book it, have it as the fucking main event. I don't care if you put it on one of your shitty ESPN show, like ESPN Plus shows or whatever it is, a fight night, whether it's on the main ESPN channel. It's a pay-per-view fight. It's probably the biggest fight you can make with active fighters at the moment, right now, with Conor McGregor not knowing what he's doing at the moment. But this is the biggest fight that you guys can put on, in my opinion. And if you put it on as a co-main event to a title fight that no one really gives a fuck about, and deprive us, the fans, of having the ability to watch that as a 5-round fight, and making us watch it as a 3-round fight, because you've got this thing in your head that every pay-per-view card needs to have a title fight, then honestly, you're just a lost cause. I'm sorry. Let me know what you guys think about the fight. What do you make of Nate Diaz's performance? What do you make of the amendments he's made? What do you make of the way he fought? Like, I feel like it was a different style that he showed us today. I don't know whether I'm just being caught in the moment and getting overhyped, but yeah, let me know what you guys think. What's next for Diaz? What's next for Pettis? What do you make of Pettis' performance? I was a bit underwhelmed by Pettis because I was expecting more from him, and I felt like Nate Diaz. I felt like Pettis would have been able to make Nate Diaz work a lot harder to get to a position where he was able to apply a lot of pressure to Anthony Pettis and make him wilt the way I've said that he tends to do. And I feel like it was a lot easier for Nate Diaz than it should have been. And I don't feel like Pettis fought to the best of his ability. And I feel like Nate Diaz kind of got in his head. I feel like the moment got in his head. Like, it's a real thing, man. Like, I don't know, man. The way Pettis kind of came into the octagon and he kind of just stripped his clothes off as he was coming in, and he looked pumped up. He looked hyped. And I don't know. I just don't know whether his mindset was the right way. And again, I mentioned this in my preview video. Fighting a Diaz brother, it's a different kettle of fish, man. They know how to get into your head. They know how to do it, man. But yeah, let me know what you guys think. Put your comments below. Don't be scared to hit the like button. If you've enjoyed this video, share it with a friend. And if you haven't already, hit the subscribe button. I'll catch you guys on the next one.